Contest season is nearing, and I'm even more excited than this, just like you all are. And to make these contests even more exciting, there is always this one fun role that we all crave to take up, and that is the contest chair role. Hey everyone, my name is Toastmaster Furqaan, and I am from Elan Toastmasters, Hyderabad. And I believe contest chairing is quite an important role to discuss and to talk about. But why exactly? How is this role going to become fundamental for all of us during the contest season? To help me with engage in the discussion, I have distinguished Toastmaster Smita Mishra. Toastmaster Smita, take it away from here.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Furqaan. It is always lovely to share a stage with you. So the role of a contest chair. Of course, it's one of the most exciting roles, and the contest chair's role encompasses a lot of learning. In today's session, I am going to take you all through some elements of how you can do this role to the best of your ability by understanding the roles and the responsibilities. And of course, talking about a few best practices that you can also include while you're taking up this role. Now, irrespective of whether you take up the role of a contest chair at the club level or the area or the division level, there are a few expectations that you are expected to take care of. The role of a contest chair starts very early, in fact, even earlier than the actual time and duration of the contest. Typically, a contest chair is identified by the VP Education of a club in case of a club contest, or by the area director of an area in case of an area contest, or by the division director during a division contest, about 3 weeks to 4 weeks before the actual date of the contest. That is when your work starts. So what do you do before the contest? The first and the most important role is identifying a chief judge for the contest. Now, you will see a lot of different chief judges, right? So how do you pick, who could be a good chief judge for your contest? Few things that you can keep in mind. The first one, try to pick somebody who's not doing this role for the first time, because a chief judge role is somebody who understands the contest rule book, who understands the do's and don'ts of a particular contest format, and somebody who can manage in case there are some issues that arise during the contest, for example, protests or any other eventualities in terms of a speaker dropping or anything can happen, right? So it's always good to pick somebody who is slightly tenured. The second thing to think about when you're picking or thinking of picking a chief judge is prefer somebody who's undergone at least one chief judge training program. It is not mandatory, but definitely a good practice to think of, because somebody who knows and understands from the best of the best chief judges will know exactly how to respond and react to your particular contest. Now, one important thing, identifying and finalizing your chief judge. It's all how quickly you do it. The sooner you do it, the better. Why? Because a lot of contests happen on the same day or time when you are doing that particular contest or you're planning for that particular contest. So there will be definitely a lack of good judges available on your particular contest. So plan ahead, plan as soon as you can, and identify the chief judge as soon as possible. All right. So once you've identified a chief judge, the majority of work is kind of taken care of by them. They are the ones who will find the role players for your contest, the timers, the tally counters. They will take care of the voting judges and the tie-breaking judges. So that all is not really any of your concern from that point onwards. But yes, you should definitely keep checking in with the chief judge if at all he or she needs any assistance or if anything is in order. Remember, as the contest chair or the contest master, as some people call it, the entire functioning or execution of the contest is your responsibility. So you have to ensure everything is in place. After, of course, the chief judge is identified and finalized, we now need to focus on who are going to be the contestants and the participants during the contest. Sometimes the VP Education shares the mail which invites nominations or which invites intent to participate from various members of the club. You don't have to worry about that at the area or the division level, obviously, because the club winner or the area winners, they would automatically progress. But at a club level, identify who is going to send out that communication to the club members, whether the VP Education is going to take that or you will. Have a clear deadline of till when are you accepting intent to participate. It could be as simple as somebody just saying, yes, I would like to participate in XYZ contest format. It may also happen that you don't get a lot of contestants in either of the contest format, which is also fine. As long as you have even one contestant, remember the contest has to take place. After you have rolled out this communication, and like I mentioned, giving them a specific deadline, ask for the contestant eligibility form and the contestant bio or the biography form. Those two formats will be available on the District 98 website, where you can just go in and download the entire contest chairs kit. These two forms are very important to share with the contestants and for contestants to fill it and share it back with you before the contest begins. What are these two forms? The contestant eligibility form is a declaration that whatever the contestant is going to talk about, it's not plagiarized and they actually are eligible to participate in the contest. How do you know who is eligible or not? Well, for starters, anybody who's a district officer, an area director, a division director, any person in the district team is not allowed. But remember, credit roles only are not allowed to participate. Anybody who is not holding a credit role or is taking up any leadership role in the club, everybody else is allowed. How can you check this? Well, Toastmasters International has made it very easy. There is a link available on the Leadership Central, which again will be shared in the District 98 website that you can go and check, where you can just type in the membership ID of the intended contestant, and you will get a pop-up saying whether or not that person is eligible to contest. So that makes your life extremely simple. Please ensure that you do this particular contestant eligibility check before the actual contest has to happen. The second document that I talked about was the contestant bio. Why is that important? Now, if you have seen a contestant bio format, it basically contains the contact details, a few things, relevant things about details about the particular member. You can use these when you are planning for the interview section during the contest. And I will come to that in just a moment. So both of these documents are essential. And again, try to get these documents at least 2 to 3 days before the actual date of the contest, so that you have the details like the speech title of the speaker or of the member of the contestant. You have any and every detail about the member when it comes to, favorite quotation or what are the awards that they've won. Again, things which will help you prepare for the contestant interview. So all of this prep obviously is happening before. There is another element of preparation that you need to kind of bear in mind and help with, which is in case of an online contest, the entire flow of the contest. So if you've visited a few club contests before, you would notice that there is usually a flow of slides or a presentation that is shared during sharing and which is used during the contest. Although it is not mentioned anywhere that the contest master is the owner or is responsible for it, but it is a good thing if you can take the ownership for that, because since you are going to be conducting the flow and the contest, you should be aware of what is the transition between those slides. So work with whoever is helping you organize the contestant participation certificates and the winner certificates and all of that. kind of organize it in one particular master deck and ensure that you know that particular flow before the contest happens. So this is all in terms of the prep part, right? And we are still before the contest. Okay, we have still not arrived on the day of the contest yet. So what are two more essential things that you have to focus on before the contest? The first thing is ensuring that you have done a briefing for all the contestants. The briefing is a very important element, primarily because it helps members understand the flow of the contest, if there are any specific arrangements that have been made. If, for example, there is an evaluation contest, what is going to happen in this particular cycle, then obviously the members would be moved into a breakout room, and then one by one they would be brought back. So the briefing helps the contestants understand everything, all elements of the contest, the flow of it, the timing of it, who are going to be the role players, how will they see different cue cards when it comes to timing, etc. That briefing also contains the draw of lots. So essentially, if you have 10 members participating in, say, a humorous speech contest, all of them would be drawing lots to determine what order they would be progressing in the contest. And that is something you as a contest master has to ensure happens. There are definitely some rules of what happens if somebody does not turn up for contestant briefing or waives that option of drawing of lots. Well, all of that is covered in the FAQ section. We will ensure that we share that link in the description as well so that you can go and look it up very quickly. So once the draw of lots and the briefing finishes, another best practice, again, not a mandate, but a best practice, is to try and do a dry run of the contest before the actual contest happens. That way, the contestants can easily understand what is actually going to happen on the Zoom meeting itself. When it is in a hybrid or an in-person contest, of course, the preparation would not be this extensive, because in person, all the variables, it's easier to manage it. You know, even if the power turns off, if the power failure happens, the speeches would still go on. You would not be expected to, drop off and then rejoin the way it would happen in a Zoom contest. So it is easier to manage an in-person contest, but Zoom can have n number of variables going wrong during the contest, which is why a dry run is especially helpful. Plan for one. See when you can organize it, preferably at least a day or two before the contest. So that can also make your contestants feel comfortable. In the final checklist leading up to the contest, ensure that you've received the contestant eligibility and the bio forms. You have everybody's speech title and you are able to clearly pronounce it. This is also something you should practice and ensure that you are pronouncing the name of the contestant as well as the speech title very, very clearly. That is important because you don't want to goof up during the contest. It happens, sometimes people are nervous, you cannot avoid it. But like I said, practice is key. The more you practice, the more you'll be in control of the contest when it is actually happening. Phew, that was a lot of stuff. But then it is important and it is essential that all the practice and all the preparation goes in well in advance so that the contest on the actual day goes off without a hitch. So what happens during the contest? What is your role then? Well, to start off, ensure that the Sergeant at Arms for the contest has shared the meeting details with all the contestants. That is your responsibility. If there is a registration form for Zoom, please ensure all the contestants have registered. Please ensure your chief judge has registered and get a confirmation from the chief judge that all the role players, all the voting judges, everybody is registered and has the meeting credentials. Everything is ready to go off. Please ensure that you ask members and the contestants to join early on the day of the contest. So that gives you time for AV checks, just to understand lighting and all of those specific elements. Also, that is a good time to understand if contestants are going to be using any kind of props. When it is in person or it is Zoom, props are not really the responsibility of the contest master. but it is good to know if there is going to be any particular prop that is getting used. On the day of the contest, ensure that the presentation, the master presentation that we spoke about, is something that you have handy. You have your contestant participant certificates and the actual winning certificate kit, everything ready. The contestant participant certification is something that you would obviously need to provide. And the winner certificate is something the CJ will need to fill in and hand it back to you when you have to announce it. Also, the other element is preparing the interview questions. So technically a normal flow of the contest, what happens is after the speakers have finished speaking, we devote some time to giving the participation certificates to them and then engaging them in some sort of light banter or questions about their experience or anything that you could glean out of their bios, which you had collected earlier, to see if there is anything interesting that they can share with the audience. The same thing happens during the evaluation contest when the participants all move to the breakout area. You have about 5 minutes technically to kill, but those 5 minutes is what is essential to ensure that people in the meeting room are engaged. So you can use that time to interact with the test speaker who has come to give the test speech during the evaluation contest. Ensure that you have interacted earlier with him or her and received some sort of inputs about what you can base your questions on. Also, for a test speaker, it is good practice to share the questions in advance with them. So to ensure that they don't get stumped with a question that is suddenly being thrown at them, but they come a little prepared about what they would like to answer. After the participation certificates are given out, the interviews have been conducted, let the contest flow in the natural order. Again, the master presentation will help you organize different elements or different parts of the contest in a smooth, seamless fashion, so that at that point of time, there is no confusion and you know exactly what section is going to follow the current one. At the very end of the contest, once all the results have been tallied and the winning certificates are prepared, the contest chief judge would invite you to announce the results of that particular contest in usually the descending order. So you go third place, second place, and first place. Please ensure that you do not call out a wrong name at that point of time, and that the correct name as printed and shared with you is what you speak out. Well, that is pretty much all there is to it, to a contest and to a contest master role. There are, of course, some finer elements to it, which you would know better if, and that is why it is recommended that you have a cursory glance through the contest rule book. The latest one, mind you, do not refer an earlier one because some elements keep changing in every year's contest rule book. So let that be a handy reference for you. Go through it, understand it, and then that will help you plan it better. That's all there is to it. After the contest finishes, just ensure that the winning certificates reach the winners on a timely basis. And if you have any contest trophies or anything, ensure that that also reaches the contestants in a timely manner. The reporting of the contest results is the responsibility of the chief judge. So you don't really have a lot of things to cover at that point of time. Of course, at the very end of the contest, also do remember to take or to prompt the Sergeant at Arms to take a group picture just to remember the contest and all the memories of it. That's all that I had to share in terms of the roles and the responsibilities and best practices of a contest chair. Why don't I invite Furqaan back and we can take the conversation on from there.
Sure then. Thank you so much, Smita ma'am. That was quite insightful. I guess you have a whole Bible around it, I guess. Right. So I have some questions for you, Toastmaster Smita. Why do you think the role of a contest chair is so important in contrast to the other roles of a contest?
So like I said, Furqaan, the contest master role is one that teaches you a lot of things, right? It is a way of understanding accountability. It is a way of understanding the actual process, the entirety of the process of conducting the contest. So it is definitely a very, very critical role, primarily because if you don't have a good, confident contest chair, it becomes very difficult to provide a seamless experience to the audience.
Right.
Because, the chief judge, the voting judges, everybody has a very important role to play during the contest, but it is the contest master who is pretty much starting and ending the contest in a particular format. So that's the reason I would say it's a very critical role.
Makes sense. So does it really matter for a contest chair to take or seek mentorship before performing the actual contest, even if it is a club level contest?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I would say approach a contest master role the way you would approach any role in Toastmasters. So if you are mentored for the role, learn from people who have already done it and who have done it well, because that will ensure whatever hiccups they have faced, they can enlighten you about it, and you can be better prepared to face those challenges as and when they come. Personally, I am somebody who is a big fan of preparation. For me, preparation is key. And I get extremely flustered if I don't know, plan A, B, C to a possible situation that can erupt. So I like to be extremely prepared. And that is the reason why I like to learn from people who have done it well. I remember this one time when I was the contest master at the semi-annual district conference a few years ago, when we still used to have semi-annual district conferences. It was called Confluence, and this was back in Bhopal. And I was nervous. I have done a contest chair role plenty times. I've done it at area, at division level, but this was the district level, and I was extremely nervous. So my go-to person at that point of time was Ravi Teja Marapu, and I actually sat down with him and we discussed about what is everything that could possibly go wrong, and what should I do to ensure it does not. And trust me, after that conversation, I was way more confident, and the contest was a success.
Yeah, I can connect with that experience. So what are the turnoffs, if you would suggest, what are the turnoffs that you would have ever found in a particular contest chair that may affect the whole contest in some senses?
So a couple of things there, Furqaan. The first thing is, like I said, the ability to pronounce names and speech titles correctly is something which every contest chair should be very careful about. A lot of times it happens that, we have mother tongue influence that prevents us from correctly pronouncing certain names or certain elements, but it is important to take the time to practice it, primarily because just one enunciation difference can change the entire meaning of a title.
Absolutely.
So we have to be very careful with specifically with speech titles, but also with South Indian names, North Indian names. We just need to be more proactive to understand how to best pronounce it. That is usually considered a big pet peeve. The other is, and this is something I missed talking about during my monologue, but contest chairs need to come across as happy, smiling, affable people, right? Despite the fact that there could be hiccups happening, you need to always seem calm and composed in your composure. That's important. I remember this one thing that happened last year at Eloquence. I was the contest chair for the District 98 humorous speech contest. And there was one contestant who had a power failure or an internet, something was happening there. And the poor thing was extremely flustered and, just trying to figure out, because everybody has got limited time to reconnect and come back. And this gentleman was really flustered and, trying to figure out, how do I ensure that that was district contest, right? That's like the highest level of contest. So all through the time, I was just smiling at the camera, and I was just, because if I start reflecting his anxiety, then everybody around who's watching the contest also starts thinking, okay, this is going really bad, or something messing up big time. So you need to be calm and composed. And then once the contestant did come back, I talked to him for just a minute. I just told him, it's okay, take a deep breath. It's all good. And it's just a contest, just be fine. Because that was not a requirement. As a contest, a lot of people take it very business-like, but then you also need to ensure that your contestant is feeling fine and comfortable, right? So I just took maybe a few seconds just to ensure everything okay. Are we good to start? Take a couple of deep breaths, and then we continued from there. I actually got a lot of positive feedback after that one incident, I remember. And a lot of people reached out saying you were extremely calm and composed. So that is one thing which I always take back, and always, even when I'm mentoring people for taking up contest chair role, I always tell them, always have that serene smile on your face and be calm and composed. But yeah, everything's good. We will take care of whatever hiccups happen.
Smile is something underrated. Like,
yeah,
that's absolutely the best thing about it. So there's this last question that I think everyone would like an answer from you. It would be that, what tips would you recommend to Toastmasters who are looking to chair the contest for their first time?
Okay. So people who are going to chair it for the first time, like I had also iterated earlier, preparation is key. Ensure that you're investing enough time. Ensure that you follow the checklists as is shared in the contest guidelines, again, which will be shared on the District 98 website. Reach out when in doubt. I think that is the biggest thing, right? Like, don't assume that if you don't know something, don't assume or make up things on your own. We pride Toastmasters with the fact that everything is documented and everything has a certain way of doing it. Don't assume anything or create your own way of doing things. Of course, within the boundaries of whatever is your role, you can add up some flair to it, but the flow of the contest or reaching out, that is something that's a necessity and should not scout around that. Another thing I would say is seek guidance and mentorship, specifically if you're doing it for the first time. Because like I said, people can share their best practices. They can tell you what went wrong and how to avoid it. And the more you feel in control, the more confident you will be when you're actually attempting the role. Right. So those are the only two simple things I would want to say.
Perfect. Now that comes to the conclusion. Thank you so much, Toastmasters Smita, for this insightful session on contest chairing and everything behind in the back end of this role. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found this insightful as well, just as much as I did. And to all the contest chairs who are watching this, all the very best. And I hope you have an amazing contest season. Thank you so much.
Thank you.